I think it's important that we share, that we communicate, that we are open, and that we grow together to achieve.
Because we are the voice of what wellness is about, and it's up to us to spread the message.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so very much for joining us on day 3 of the World Spa and Wellness online conference, brought to you by the joint efforts of the 4 teams of professional beauty in the UK, Dubai, GCC, South Africa, and India. Hello, my name is Jean-Guy de Gabriac. I am the founder of Deep Touch International and World Wellness Weekend. I'll be your host today, talking about reopening strategies from Europe, not just Southern Europe, but Europe. Greece is in the house, Cyprus is in the house, Italy is in the house, France and Switzerland are in the house. We're going to touch on very burning points today. Yes, we're going to talk about safety, sterilization, but much has been already said on previous webinars. So beyond safety, we will be talking about what are the elements that our panelists are preparing to boost the guest experience in their property, the value that they're going to add. What elements of emotional intelligence are they going to include in the drafting of their new SOPs? Are they in favor of reopening as soon as regulation allows it, or should it be wiser to wait for a little more? What elements of their business do they recommend will become digital? And a question that is rarely asked, everyone wants to go full blast on safety and sanitization, but what is the estimated cost, additional operational cost of adding all those procedures? So without further ado, I would like to introduce our panelists today. George Tavelis, owner of Sanctum Fitness and Spa in Cyprus and president of the Cyprus Spa Association. Thank you for joining us. Kalispera. Stavros Mavridis, general manager of Soul Tailors in Greece. Spiros Gaitanidis, the spa director of Sani Resort and Ecos Resorts, also in Greece. Julien Paty, founder and CEO of Deep Nature in France, but also throughout Europe with 53 or 56 venues. Nigel Franklin, the founder of the Spa Whisperer and also the co-founder of Moss Wellness Consultancy. And Matteo Brusaferri, general manager of Lemi Group. And I would just like to take my hat off, especially to Lemi and Biologique Recherche for being our 2 platinum sponsors, making this set of 15 conferences, broadcast, multicast on 10 different platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, available to all for free. So thank you so very much, Matteo, and also the guys at Biologique Recherche, Pierre-Louis and Rupert, for making it available. Without further ado, let's dive in and let's talk about safety first. A lot has been said already. Stavros, you'll be the first one to take that question, and then George on a few insights also. A lot has been said, and Mark Cohen in a previous session with the hot springs shared a lot of evidence-based research. But Stavros, as we were preparing, you wanted to add some data from Greece, from the University of Thessaloniki. Please share with us.
Kalispera, Jean-Guy. Kalispera, George, Julien, Nigel, Spiro, Matteo. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about burn issues for the wellness industry worldwide. It's true that Greece did it very well the last 2 months. And I think that we did it well because we listened to the scientists. And as you said, I'm sure that there are plenty of researches going on at the moment about COVID-19. But I searched the Global Wellness Institute website and I found a very good research back in 2011 about sauna that actually appears to be safe and offers multiple health benefits to regular users. From the other side, the University of Thessaloniki in Greece says that there is evidence-based practices that coronaviruses are not surviving into humid and in hot environments above 35 to 40 degrees. But again, we need to follow all the strict guidelines that the governments or the health ministers will say to us to apply. And as we listened the last 2 days, there are many ways to make our guests use these hydrothermal experiences or thermal bathing areas by dedicated all this area by 1 or 2 persons or maybe a family. Then have a breakdown of 30 minutes to clean and sanitize the area, and then try to control the technical element by using 5 or 6 times per hour the ventilation system. Again, the thermal facilities is not to treat, is to protect us, is to build up a good immune system. But again, we need to follow the guidelines very strictly.
Thank you, Stavros. George, it's not going to be very practical to refresh the air of saunas and hammam 6 times per day, because the whole point is to save energy. And once you switch them on in the day, you should have optimal heat throughout the day. So that's A, that's not going to be very practical. And B, you wanted to touch on a special regulation in Cyprus regarding swimming pools. What is it?
Good afternoon, everybody. From the warm Cyprus, here in Limassol today, so it's a little bit over 40 degrees, actually. So hopefully it kills everything. Yeah. We got the green light from the government 15 days ago, actually, that we are going to open on the 21st the spas and the hair salons, actually the day spas, which they are under the guidelines of the beauty salons. And we can also do massages and all kind of treatments. We will open on the 21st, so it's been a lot of, we have done a lot of things during this week. It's been a difficult week in order to prepare everybody to open. The only thing that we will not be able to use when we reopen, because we are not going to open our resort spas and hotel spas, this is going to come in a different stage, I think by the middle of June. At this stage, we're not going to be able to use our changing rooms. So by not using the changing rooms, we will not be able, it's a restriction for us to use the sauna, the heat rooms, and the swimming pool, because we cannot have clients coming into our area without using the changing rooms and entering the saunas and the swimming pools. Coming back to the heat rooms and the sauna, I agree with Stavros that we need to have restrictions and having people getting into the saunas and into the heat rooms every half an hour. But it's very difficult to switch off the saunas and the heat rooms and switch them on. We spend more electricity than having them on the whole day, and sanitizing them and cleaning them is going to be a huge cost. Swimming pools with the chlorine, it's going to be safe, because chlorine is a powerful disinfectant that will eliminate the virus. But at the same time, we need to keep our social distances in the swimming pools, inside and outside. We haven't got the green light for the swimming pools yet from our government, and I think we will do that. They will do that when they open the hotels and the spas within the hotels.
Thank you, George. Julien, you have taken a very drastic approach to hydrothermal experiences, and your 50+ venues are really well known for hydrothermal, especially the first one that you opened in Bora Bora with the thalassotherapy, but also the many ones that you opened with Center Parks, with Pierre et Vacances. You have taken a very drastic approach to say, we'll just close them. Please let us know why.
Yeah, first of all, we have already reopened an operation as a test in Tahiti, because it was allowed. And in New Caledonia, also they were not very affected by the virus, so it looks fine. And people are still coming. A number of people were waiting for the reopenings. But as you said, in France, we are the land of procedures and administration, and at the moment it's really, we are in complete fog. It's the twilight zone, we hear a lot from different regulations and procedures coming from the government. One of them is that the regulation could be one person for 4 square meters in a swimming pool. To my mind, it's just not applicable, and we would prefer not opening these areas, waiting for the situation to just calm down for a while. And I think as long as people see that tourism and moreover spas are important for tourism, I think reopening France, first country in the world with tourism, in July is just compulsory. So I think they will have to reopen the pools. But let's say that at the moment, everybody is a bit wondering about scientists, because sometimes you hear black and otherwise other times it's white, you just don't know. So we've just decided to close everything, put everybody on the door and just wait for what's going to happen.
Absolutely. Thank you, Julien. Spiros, I'd like to jump on something you mentioned, because Stavros said in Greece, you have been listening to scientists, you have been listening to facts, and you have been devising plans to reopen. There's a very big season, 8,000 hotels that are waiting to reopen. Probably 50% of those will reopen. I know that your group will reopen, and you have taken, or you have announced a fantastic measure, which is in each of your resorts there's going to be a medical lab that is going to be installed. Can you please let us know a little bit more about this initiative, and then we'll hear it from Nigel.
Of course. Thank you very much, first of all, for this opportunity. It's my honor to participate in this panel, and it's a great opportunity for everyone to share ideas and inspire each other. I believe that what we will all seek for a while is peace of mind, and towards this direction, idea would be to install a more portable medical lab in each hotel, in the entrance of each hotel, that would be utilized to perform COVID-19 tests to all guests upon arrival. And of course, weekly tests, at least weekly tests for staff. That way, resorts can attempt to eliminate at maximum degree a virus case within their premises. And now I'm aware that these tests are still quite expensive, not only in Greece, but worldwide. However, companies are expected to produce more affordable tests during the coming months. So I think for peace of mind, this is the only way to go.
Thank you, thank you. Nigel, Switzerland has reopened, I believe, last week. Massages have resumed, spas have reopened. And in the land that has the universal symbol of safety, everyone, if you want to say safety, you just put a red flag with a white cross on top of it. So safety regulations is not going to be something very new for Switzerland. What can you tell us from your country?
Well, it's, I'm in the DACH region. I have Germany and Switzerland and Austria. And, and what I think is just really, first, when you think of Switzerland, you think A, skiing, B, some form of medical manifestation, whether it's wellness or hospital. So certainly the hotels have opened, and the spas within the hotels have opened. And my perception of what is happening within the hotel spas that are only open to guests, quite naturally, I think people are kind of fumbling around trying to determine this kind of new normal. I'm in a very fortunate position as a consultant, and I specialize primarily in medical wellness environments. And so these kind of regulations aren't alien to a medical wellness environment. And whereas you have people taking these extreme measures that as they should, but that somehow don't speak to their DNA, I think with places that I work with in Switzerland, we almost have to kind of come softer a little bit and put in a little bit more of the wellness. Because we ordinarily just naturally have these regulations, and we're increasing them as such. interesting though, the conversation this week, just quickly this week, the conversations that I've heard about saunas and swimming pools, and what I like just in this very brief conversation we've all had so far is this acknowledgement that these things don't exist in a vacuum. I mean, whether it you know, there's confusion about whether a hammam can kill it or whether it spreads it, or the chlorine in the swimming pool. These things don't exist in a vacuum. The regulations to get to the hammam, get to the swimming pool, all have to be in place too. So the conversations about this, I think, has to be a lot broader.
Okay, well, thank you. Matteo, what is the situation in Italy? Because I believe you had to wait until last night to receive a document, finally, from the government, 700 pages. So what are the main takeaways from this 700 pages? Of course, you've read it back in France, I imagine.
So hi, Jean-Guy, and good afternoon, everybody. So, well, as you know, Italy has been one of the first countries hit by this this pandemic, and I mean, right in the center of it. I mean, Cremona, which is probably the most heated city after Milan. We now, after 73 days, we had the first day with no death for COVID-19, which is a good sign. Numbers are getting better and better. Spas have been closed 2 months ago. They're still closed, but they're going to reopen starting from next week. And they're saying they're going to reopen region by region. So based on the number of the virus, of the spreading of the virus, they're going to reopen. So probably my region and Piemonte will be the last two regions to reopen. So I think it's going to be by the end of May, beginning of June. We have a list now of all the procedures they need to do, what they think they need to do to keep everybody safe. So of course, wearing masks, taking measurement of the temperature, sanitize the treatment room, half an hour between one treatment and another. Where possible, they need to change the whole, need like open windows or refresh the air inside the treatment room. They need to use as much as disposable covers and products as possible. If it's not possible, all the sheets and linens need to be washed with a minimum of 60 degrees. And then we have another, like lots of other rules that we have to put in place to reopen safely. Yesterday night, as you were saying, we received, actually the government went out with these 700 pages, but they're more, let's say, related to the economical help that Italy is going to give to companies and people. There is some interesting point that can help spas as well. We are still waiting some clarification because, as you know, 700 pages written in this kind of political language, which is not so easy to understand at the beginning, especially when it comes from our government and from Italy. I think the situation is very similar to France. So lots of fog, and we need to manage and to understand a bit more of what's happening in the next week.
Okay, thank you. I just posted on the chat box to all of you listening, that we will take questions in about 30 minutes. So please use the chat box to write your comments. And in the past sessions, the chat box was extremely active with people posting links, information, resources to SOPs, to guidelines of ISPA or others. By the way, the ISPA guidelines for the reopening toolkit has been downloaded over 70,000 times in just 1 week. So please make sure, and I'll post the link later on, lots of other regulations. And if you are listening to this session on your phone or on your computer because you're connected to Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, know that if you want to join, all you have to do is go to the Facebook page of Professional Beauty, whether in the UK, Dubai, GCC, South Africa, or India. You will find links to connect, to register. It's completely free, and then you'll be able to access the Zoom room where we all are, about 160 of us right now, and you'll be able to voice out your questions. Quick question to go forward, because it has been asked a lot. I don't want to dwell too much on it because I really would like to focus with all of you guys who are entrepreneurs, founders, general managers, consultants. I want to dive into the economics of the situation. But very quickly, just 1 minute answer. Spiros, what is your views on body massage with or without gloves? And then we'll hear it from Georges and Julien.
Well,
1 minute.
According to the Disease Control Center, the COVID-19 virus is a respiratory disease, so there is no real evidence that the virus can be spread by perspiration. It is known that by the whole World Health Organization, but that the coronavirus spreads primarily from person to person due to small droplets from the nose or the mouth. So these droplets can drop on the surfaces, on the massage tables, on the benches, on the tables, on the trays. And as therapists can touch these surfaces and after touch their eyes or nose or mouth, it's very possible that if the person that coughed or sneezed or talked and dropped the droplets, if it was infected, then yes, it may be dangerous for the therapist to get infected. However, it is something to decide by the company, because it's very important that the therapists keep their safety, but at the same time, the convenience of guests should be of top priority. So the suggestion is that everybody should be washing their hands regularly with soap and water and clean with alcohol-based hand rub. And if needed, then yes, they should wear gloves, but only in cases that guests are not allowed to wear a mask, like in facial treatments, or in cases that the guests cannot respire properly. Because it's worth mentioning that therapists wearing gloves can make guests feel more secure and relaxed during a treatment. And relaxation is a very important factor in our operation.
Thank you, thank you. George, what's your take in Cyprus as the president of the Cyprus Spa Association about massage with or without gloves?
Okay, we recommend, first of all, to have a good training for our therapists to follow the proper steps for medical hand hygiene, both before and after the treatment. And this ensures risk-free body massage without use of gloves. This is what we recommend. The additional measure that we have recommended for our spas is to use and to apply the 50% room occupancy. For example, if a spa has 10 treatment rooms, they have to use only 5 of them. So a therapist can be assigned for 2 treatment rooms at the same when they have a treatment during the day. So if they are doing a treatment in treatment room 1, they finish with their client, they have to move to the second treatment room for the following client. So the cleaner can go in, sanitize the place, open the window, and the room will be ready for the therapist to move on after the treatment to the first treatment room. So this will make the guest and the therapist to feel more safe entering in a room, instead of watching the client coming out of one treatment room and the next one will go in.
Thank you, George. Thank you. Julien, what's your take in France and in your deep nature spas?
There is no evidence that it's better with the gloves, because scientists in France, some say that it's good, and some others say that gloves are concentrating maybe the virus or whatever. So we don't want any fight on this, because we have 53 operations in different countries. So we're just prepared to use the gloves when the customers want the gloves. Of course, it's not, for me, it's not satisfying, because of course, it's a spa is a matter of contact, so it's not very satisfying, but we will use the gloves if required by the customers or the staff, because there might be also an issue with the staff, but we believe that washing hands might be sufficient, because it's one thing that is still very possible, and of course we have equipped everybody with the sanitizers and all stuff required.
Agreed. Thank you, Julien. To make a long story and conversation very short about massage, I believe, and it's a very good point that Viara Tosheva mentioned a few weeks ago during the Professional Beauty Virtual Week. She said, you should consider your guests not as men, women, old, young, but as high, medium, or low risk concerning COVID. High risk will be the people who maybe have lost someone. We see statistics, hundreds of thousands, soon 300,000 people dead from COVID or other related comorbidity. So people have lost, or people have contracted the virus and recovered. These are the high risk level guests that you will receive, and they will want super protections. They will want to see your staff washing hands twice or 3 times just to be sure. Can you wash again? The medium, you know, they are concerned, but they kind of trust you. And most of the properties that we have received, they're very legit. They have very strict regulations on that they are monitoring, that they are documenting. So there's a lot going on. And then there's the low risk who are kind of easygoing. They are your regular guests. They know your staff. They know the procedures you have. So it's good. And I could see in the chat box, Kerensa Langitan from Mauritius Lux Properties saying they, you know, her teams will give the choice to guests to whether you want a massage with gloves or not. And there are different types of gloves. And some are extremely uncomfortable. Others are kind of okay. I wouldn't say pleasant, but it's something. Another question that really popped up in the previous panel are facials. Stavros, what is your opinion about facial? Is it safe to offer facials? Because lots of spa directors, managers who have spoken before say, we will, you know, definitely go for the mani-pedis. We will go for the back massage with the client face down. If the client is face up, and this is a question that we received from Iowana, will the client wear a mask? And Janet Tobacco in the previous panel from Jari Spa in Malaysia and president of the Malaysian Spa Association said she will give a protection kit to every single guest, a fresh one, anyone entering. What is your take on facials? And then we'll hear from Matteo. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, of course. I listened the panel before us, and our friend Sami brought this in conversation. And I strongly believe that, you know, wellness centers and spas are spaces where the trust between the guest and the therapist is on a high level. So I think that if all the measures were taken before the guest taking the plane and come to Greece or to Cyprus or to Italy, then I think that the therapists, the hotel, will take all the appropriate measures to provide the right treatments to the guest. Of course, we all have to adapt, redesign our menus, redesign our SOPs, and I believe that with all the measures and all the equipment that we have in our hands, I'm sure that we'll minimize 100% to conduct the COVID-19 during a treatment. And I believe that yes, to wear a glove is not a solution. I think that the touch needs to be there. And concerning facials, I think that there are a lot of products and procedures that we can make a safe treatment for all of us.
Agreed, Stavros. And as we can see from the chat box, very active. People are saying no gloves. But you know, it's also good to respect the level of anxiety of the guest and say, well, you know, it is an option. It's there. And in previous panels, a lot of attendees also have mentioned that they will go for modalities like shiatsu, Thai massage, with giving fresh, clean outfit to receive this kind of modalities for guests. So touch will be okay with no gloves because it will be on textile, Reiki, vibrational healing. And you're right, Stavros. Sami in the previous panel mentioned a very clever word about high touch, high tech, and hygiene. Matteo, you've been working very hard with your teams in the past few weeks to come up with a solution to give safe facials very fast. Please tell us about the Spa Shield.
Yeah, so the main concern we had for face treatment is, of course, when a guest is coming for a face treatment, he can't wear a mask. So otherwise you have no possibility to provide a treatment to a customer wearing a mask. But if the guest is taking off the mask, there is some risk for the therapist to get the virus, and also the guest itself won't feel safe, because we know that the surgical mask is basically protecting other people from us, but as well, in our mind, all people's mind, wearing a mask now is making you feel a bit more safe. So in this kind of treatment, you can't wear masks. So we create this shield, this transparent protection that you can use to provide a facial being divided from the guest for both use, either protect the therapist, of course, from the guest not wearing the mask, but also to let the guest feel more confident and more safe going in a spa for a face treatment, which is, I think, it's a very important point right now, because if you want to have occupancy, if you want to have people coming to the spa after the whole problem we had and all this situation, I think we need to feel the customer safe to go to a spa. I mean, people need to understand and to feel safe when they're going to a spa for every kind of treatment. If there is no trust, as well Stavros was saying, if there is no trust, people is not going to a spa. So I think it's important to put in place whatever we can to help our guests to give us this trust and to feel confident to go for this kind of treatment. So I hope this shield will help in this. We had very good feedback right now from the market. Lots of people is asking for this. I see the request is very high, and I'm happy that we are finding that we came out with a solution that will help spa to open and to have a high occupancy again after this whole pandemic.
Absolutely. It is definitely lowering the risk. And anyway, the staff, in order to provide the treatment, will anyway wear the mask, probably a shield also, wash the hands, every safety. So, but it's also a way of seeing what you do and being comfortable, and for the guest to remove the mask. So moving on to the way to increase the experience, because safety will be first, absolutely, but it should not be the only thing. I mean, SOPs are standard operational procedures. They do not have just to be sanitized or sterilized operational procedures. They can be also superior operational procedures or signature operational procedures. That's what with TipTouch we called SO+, and we have a document ready next week about this to be sharing with all of you if you want. George, in Cyprus, what are key elements that you are recommending to implement? And some of them are linked, I believe, to corporate social responsibility.
You mean what elements we have to add on our standard operation procedures?
Yeah, to boost the guest experience. You didn't mention on inspiring outdoor treatment areas.
Yes, it's okay for me. At this moment, at this period, the reopening period, I cannot say that there is a wow factor that we can do for our clients, but the boosting effect that we can have is connecting with our clients, listening to our clients, attending their needs, and empathize with them. On top of that, here in Cyprus, because of the lovely Mediterranean weather that we have and the warm temperature and the guaranteed sunshine, especially at this time of the year, we will be able to, for our resorts, to create outdoor treatments as well as relaxation areas outdoors, and areas, quiet areas, tranquil areas, and people will be feeling more free and safe while they're doing a treatment outdoors. And to attract, we recommended this actually to all of our spas under the Cyprus Spa Association, is to attract new clients or existing clients. They should offer free outdoor group meditation classes, some stress management programs on a daily basis, And by utilizing the outdoor environment, I think it's something that will make our clients, especially the clients that they come from abroad, to feel more safe.
Thank you, George. Nigel, you'd like to add something on this, and then we'll hear from Spiros quickly.
Yeah, just quickly as we kind of move forward, I think it's really clear, or it's important for everyone to be clear that, you know, yes, we are defined by how we respond to the global pandemic and C-19. We are defined by how we respond to it, but we're also defined by how we evolve from it. And I think to George's points, certainly, that it is very important that we don't swap the language of C-19 with the language of wellness. You know, our DNA remains the same. We are just navigating through different waters right now. One of the things I, as a consultant, would like to implement, for example, extended consultation times. And the reason for this, you know, the one thing we have now that this as a unified planet is that we have all gone through this experience together. And our job as therapists, as spa directors, operators, is to manage people's anxiety. And that is part of our new kind of wellness identity. So I think things like extending the consultation time gives me as a therapist and you as a guest the opportunity for us to share this kind of bizarre experience that we have gone through. And within that time, you know, there is the management of anxiety, and that is where we kind of redefine this new idea of wellness. So I think, you know, rather than come like with two guns blazing, I mean, and have these kind of big knee-jerk responses. I mean, there are the governmental mandates and regulations, but it really is important. Our eye is on the ball of wellness and how we can leverage these very strict regulations, but still not lose our
Absolutely, DNA. Nigel. And in a minute, just after Spiros talking about spirulina, just like Edward Wong, the president of the Singapore Spa and Wellness Association, mentioned adding as a value added element hot pack with herbs to really boost the immune system. Spiros is going to speak about spirulina. And just after that, you're right, Nigel, it's important to add emotional intelligence in SOPs, and Stavros will definitely touch on this. Spiros, your mic is on. Please let us know about the elements you're adding in your signature treatments.
Well, actually, spirulina is proven to enhance the rate of production of red and white blood cells, induce the production of the antibodies, activate T cells, and in general, boost the immune system at all. So, well, one of the wow factors is creating signature tailor-made treatments, which will emphasize on boosting immune system. It's more than necessary these days. So, well, first of all, I believe that cosmetic brands are a valuable ally in this effort. And they should be in close cooperation with the spa managers and be able to create some unique distress treatments and skin distress treatment mostly. In Sunny and Ecos, we are lucky to have Ansemonet as an exclusive brand. And they have been with us closely since day one. And we've been already creating a series of treatments aiming to boost the immune system, and the main ingredient in these treatments is spirulina. It has always been in the company's philosophy, but now even more than before, it's very important to include elements like this in more and more treatments. Well, as we may know, the skin intervention is extremely dense and reaches the most superficial layers of the dermis. And it means that there is a close relationship between our skin and our nervous system. So many neurocondense cosmetic products are supposed to modulate the nervous system functioning of the dermis level, and the new approach of skincare products which manage to decrease stress in the skin. And some Ansemonet products also like I don't know if you would like to mention some Express Radiance ice cubes, Express Radiance ice cube for the eyes, the super active cream, the contour serum. They are formulated with tephrolin, which is an extract of Tephrosia puputea, the wild indigo, as widely known, which stimulates the release of beta endorphin, providing the skin with with a feeling of well-being and therefore restoring the normal skin functions. And as I said, there are many other products that the cosmetic companies can research and include in their protocols. And it's a very unique opportunity to come in close cooperation with the companies and to create something unique.
Thank you, Spiros. And you just gave a perfect example of what the therapists really need to be comfortable with. I know they're great non-verbal people, not all of them, but most of the therapists or estheticians, they're great with their hands, they're great with their heart. They're not so comfortable about recommending products. Well, now is the time to fully know the products that you have, the benefits that they deliver, so that yes, it's nice, it works. It produces results. And let me tell you about your immune system, your body, and why these products will continue to serve long after the treatment as you go. So thank you for mentioning it. And Stavros, emotional intelligence, how, why should people use that more?
Yes, I think
You
that
mentioned Daniel Coleman.
Yeah. The last 2 months, everybody, all of us reading a lot of books and reinventing ourselves to copy and adapt to this new normal. For many years now, emotional intelligence has been said that is more important than IQ, especially for high executives and managers and directors, because they made them to perform better and have better understanding of the others, what is happening around them. So wellness is about understand the other. You have opposite in you. And as you said, Daniel Coleman, a psychologist and very well-known author, describes 5 components critical to emotional intelligence, which is self-awareness, self-regulation, social skills, empathy, and motivation. For sure, all are important, but I think that we have to be focused on 2 of them. And to my point of view is the self-regulation and empathy. I think that self-regulation is all about expressing your emotions appropriately. And those who are skilled in self-regulation tend to be flexible and adapt well to change, which means that in these times, we need to adapt to any change that is coming. Also, the people that are self-regulate, they tend to manage conflicts and diffusing tense or difficult situations. So the second part, critical, is the empathy, and it's all about recognizing how the others feel and to respond accordingly. Both elements, I think, will definitely need to be included to the new SOPs in order to make the therapist feel confident from the other side, from one side, and the guest, they can see that there is someone that really cares about them. And as said Nigel, we need time to understand and go deeper on that and heal.
Thank you very much, Stavros. We're moving forward in our session, and we will be taking questions in about 10 minutes. And I see that there are already a few questions that have been asked. So thank you so very much. If some of you are joining us now on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, please make sure to register so that you can join the Zoom room in which we are. There's an increasing number of people joining us so that you can also ask your questions. Julien, you're next. Let's evaluate, please, the cost of additional operational safety and sanitation measures. We're talking about providing a kit with maybe a sanitizer. I mean, some operators are thinking of giving directly to their guests when they arrive a kit with a mask, with a small sanitizer bottle. Your therapist will need to wear PPE. There will need to be a 20 to 30 minute turnover. What is the cost that you estimate for that? And then we'll hear from George and from Stavros.
Yes, thank you. We have already made procurements to restart our operations, and we know that estimation is between 2 to 3 euro per customer for a sanitizer, facial mask, for instance. but also for staff, equipping all the staff every day, changing the gear every day is about €7 per staff. It might not mean that it's a lot of money, but as far as we are concerned, we have 500 staff in all our operation, and it means that it's over €1 million per year, so it's big money. And talking about the lead time in between the treatments, to me it looks impossible, because that would mean say a lead time of 30 minutes in between the treatments is something like €300 per day lost in treatments. And with the with the minimum, the percentage of occupancy that is forecasted now, which is roughly 50%, it looks for us, because we have many operations, it looks difficult. We'd rather in our company wait for the situation to calm down, for people to calm down, for people to be reassured, in order to start probably in July with better figures.
Thank you, Julien. It adds up very quickly. €2 additional per guest, €7 per day per therapist, multiplied by 50 plus operations for you on a daily basis. It really adds up. George, when we were preparing, you were saying roughly about the same: €2 per guest, €5 per staff per day. The turnaround. Julien said about €300, you say 200. Maybe there's the difference pattern is maybe palpable between France, with things costing more than in Cyprus. But you also mentioned the testing of the staff. I know not everyone is inclined to do the testing, because a lot of people argue that tests, 40% of the test, any test, said Mark Cohen, will give you a false result. Any test for anything. It's unfortunately, it's the range of error. So testing every week or every month will only be good for that day. But you mentioned about €100. Will it be viable for spas to reopen facing that many costs in Cyprus? And then we'll hear it from Spiros.
It's not going to be easy for us to reopen with all of these costs. It's not only these costs that we are taking at the moment regarding the staff. We have to do some other expenses and renovation within our properties, in order to in some of the treatment rooms that we didn't have windows, have to open windows now, and a lot of costs that are piling up. But as Stavros mentioned at the beginning, Greece and Cyprus are doing very well with the cases at the moment. In Cyprus, every day we announce 2 to 3, between 2 to 4, and in Limassol, where we live, in a population of around 300,000 people, we had around 98 cases. So by testing our staff before we open, and regularly every 15 days, we are dropping the percentages of something will happen within our properties coming from our staff, and that will give to our clients that they will be visiting us more reassurance that everything will be fine when they come to do treatments here in our properties.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. Spiros, is it viable to reopen? And then we'll hear it from Stavros. 1 minute each, and then we move on, and very soon we'll be taking questions, because there's lots of them coming.
Mm-hmm. Well, I believe clearly there will be a significant impact on the operational cost with the new sanitizing procedures plus the tests. We in Sunny Nikos Resorts, we are still in the process of finalizing our SOPs. So we have not yet decided if we are going to operate our spas on their full potential, meaning operating with the hammams, saunas, changing rooms, waiting areas, or maintain a minimal operational style where the guests use their cabins to change clothes and have a shower inside, and then check out directly. Probably it's more safe and more effective for the spa staff to control and disinfect the areas when the guests limit their circulation within the cabins only. But each of those options implies a different impact on the operational cost. However, there are some fixed factors, such as the purchase of sanitizing equipment or the performing of regular tests, which is quite costly, as I mentioned before. And given that the hotels will probably operate with a maximum occupancy of 50%, and we will have to reduce the occupancy of the treatment cabins due to sanitizing procedures and gaps between treatments, I believe that at the end of the day, the commercial margin of the spas is expected to drop by 5 to 10%. It's a rough estimation and needs to be defined with clarity as soon as the new way of operation is finalized, but I think it's going to be severe.
Thank you, Spiros. I'm going to ask a 30-second question to almost all of you because the questions keep piling up. And we have one from Sibyl Hoffman saying, do you think the price of therapies will cost more? Of course, she says that in regard to the medical testing before entering the spa and having less therapy rooms in operations. But Stavros, what's your take on this? Will you increase prices, or will you increase the value, the perceived value with add-ons? 30 seconds.
Yeah, this is a question that the last 2 days, all people around the world try to answer. My point of view is we don't have to raise prices. We need to add value services. And I know that we're facing financial problems and will the next months, but we're all here gathering to guide people how to reopen safely and operate under strictly guidelines. And I think that wellness over the next 5-6 months have the opportunity to go deeper in any hotel operations, because we have to think out of the box and break the walls of the spa and bring wellness everywhere, into the room, into the transfers, everywhere. I think that there is an opportunity, despite the fact that a lot of hotels in Greece will not open. Some said that 1 out of 3 hotels will not open, around 3,000 hotels out of 10,000. And some of them, they're going to have 50 degrees on revenues and earnings. But please, let's focus to reopen safely and have the budget for next year.
Thank you. Nigel, same question. Do you recommend to your clients to keep prices up, or?
No, I think increasing prices is a temporary palliative. You know, it's a very temporary solution and not terribly sustainable. The same with Stavros. You know, I would recommend to my clients, especially the wellness centers, the Clinique La Prairie, for example, that would increase their content in terms of immunity boosting within their residential programs. But yeah, very, very similar answer. It's think outside the box. Raising the prices without raising the wellness experiences doesn't sound like a solution to me.
Thank you. Julien, same question, and then George, and then we'll move on to the questions we have, and especially one that is, how can we include more wellness into spas? And sometimes, you know, high street, not necessarily the beautiful resorts, the beautiful hotels, but the standalone properties reopening. So Julien, about prices, what is your take on this?
Yeah, again, the same as Nigel. You know, it's for me, it's not possible to raise the prices, because the main issue we're going to have to treat now is to get the customers to come back to our spas. And I wouldn't like that the barrier now is the price. You know, we 2020 is a lost year. It's like this, you know, we have to survive, but still we need to build up the business and to get the clients to come back to our spas. So that will not be the issue. And at the same time, you know, you hear people, you know, they are losing their jobs and maybe some poverty and some people who have decreased their wages. So I think the best message is to try to have the safety, to invest more in this, and to reassure the customers and try to get them to come back to our spas.
Thank you. Big question for you, George, my friend, owner of the Sanctum Fitness and Spa. Question from James Blower, Matrix. Can you share some insights about your standard operational procedures on how you will operate your gyms within your facility? And maybe Spiros, is it something you can add also about the resorts you're operating in Greece?
Okay, this is it's a big question actually. This is something that we work with the team very closely. We have almost 2 to 3 times a week, conference call with my instructors and generally with a lot of people within this the fitness industry in Cyprus. First of all, we'll have a restriction on how many people you will put in your gym. And here in Cyprus, it's not official, but it's going to be almost 8 square meters per person. So we need to do 2 things. First of all, we need to have our clients coming into our fitness centers with appointments. We need to have at least 1.5 hour appointment and booking spaces for clients to come and exercise. This is what we're going to do for Sanctum, starting from 6:45 in the morning, finishing at 10 o'clock in the evening. So every 1.5 hour, people will finish at an hour. They will leave. We sanitize everything for half an hour, and then the next group will come. And people will be able to exercise at least 3 times a week. If we have space, we can accept people to exercise more than 3 times a week because we're working during the weekends as well. We will have at the first 2 weeks some restrictions for the changing rooms, and we have to face that. We will see if people will come, exercise, and leave. And these are things that we need to answer beside all the normal safety and safety, sanitization regulations that we need to put in place.
Thank you, George. Spiros, in your resorts, you have fitness facilities. What
Yes.
are your recipes with that?
Well, it's very well said by George before. I just wanted to add that an option would be to design some outdoor fitness programs that would mainly focus on replacing the gyms, perhaps some CrossFit classes or some group activities that could maintain social distance between each other. I think that operating the gyms, especially in hotels with high volume of guests, like 1,000 or more, it's not going to be very well because you cannot accommodate everybody. And I mean, how many can you put in a gym of 100 square meters per day? And if they want to repeat their exercise daily, then you will have many limitations to how many people you can totally accommodate. So I think that it's more important to design group activities outdoors that could eliminate the risk of contamination.
Okay, Stavros, something you would like to add before we move to the next question with Julien, talking about spa shifts?
Yeah, I think that the fitness in general needs to be redesigned with all the companies all around the world. As the Global Wellness Summit with this big survey of physical activity, I think that we need to listen to the companies and of course support and help them to create new innovative products and redesign the whole places that at the moment the gyms are placed. Because we're often going into the gym and most of the hours are empty. And I think that the technology over the next years will play a major role. And I think that a couple of companies like Active Solutions from USA, they're bringing up new innovative solutions for personalization by keeping the social distancing. New products are coming and we need to be considered and redesign our spaces.
Thank you, Stavros. Julien, a question from Didier Levieux, who's been very active. He has many questions, but one that I would like to pass on to you. with the reduced occupancy of treatment rooms because of hygiene, do you think you will have to cut down staff shifts and operate longer opening hours? How is this going to impact the profitability of your spa?
Even though we have big administrations in France, we still have an advantage, is that at the moment, the wages are covered by the government by 80%. So that's why we are not starving to reopen too soon, because at the moment we are able to talk a lot with our staff. First of all, to reassure them, because before the customers, we need to reassure the staff because they are not all willing to go back to work. And then after, we have a second thing very important, is that we will be able to adapt the occupancy to our staff. It means that we can still have staff on the door and some other staff working. And so the government is taking a part of the wages still. So we are able to go back to work gradually. Will we open more? Again, I'm just waiting for regulations to be issued by the government. You know, if, for instance, they tell us no more than 20 customers in the spa per hour, then we will have maybe to change our shifts and to open longer effectively.
Okay, thank you. Stavros, very quick question, because we now have about 8 minutes left. And so if you wish, all of you attending, asking 1 or 2 last questions, we may take it. But Stavros, in 90 seconds max, what are the 1 or 2 elements of spa operations that you highly encourage operators to digitalize? What will have the biggest effect?
If you ask me, Zaghi, my point of view, we have to digitalize everything. I believe so much in technology. And yeah, I think that we all received a book about Wellness 2030. At the moment, the Silicon Valley is working on very high-end, or as you can say, programs that will be released over the next years about unlocking happiness and all these things. But before going to there, I think that as we work in our company, I think that the consultation form, the online booking, for sure needs to go digital 100%. We are all get used the last years to book air tickets, taxi, to have our food through our mobile devices online. And I think that now it's time to bring that to the wellness industry. And in our company, the R&D department in Eurotel developed an online booking application along with the online registration form, because I think that until now, the consultation forms were filled upon the arrival of the guest in the spa reception. The therapist didn't have so much time to review it and propose the right treatment, the right product, and any contraindications. I think that now the online registration form will give the opportunity to the hotel, to the spa, to the therapist, to the managers, to the directors, to gather data, of course, under the GDPR guidelines and rules, of course, and personalize the whole experience. And after that, I think that with the online booking, add-on treatments, the dynamic pricing and the dynamic availability will be part of it, and will give the chance to the spas and the hotels to manage in the new normal the occupancy and the offers concerning pricing, therapists, and everything they want. So technology is in our hands. And as Jeremy McCarthy said, it's not that it's bad, the thing is that it's too good. So
thank you. And how we manage it, absolutely. Spiros, just one comment, 20, 30 seconds. What would be the one thing on top of what Stavros has said that you would digitalize in your operations? And then George and Nigel, same question.
Well, I agree with Stavros. We should digitalize almost every aspect of the spa operation, and probably data mining would be the one that would be the most effective as it would be able to dramatically improve the customer relationship management and at the same time ensure maximum personal data protection. But there are some fields of the spa operation that I believe that we cannot rely on technology to perform, and the human factor needs to be there, such as the follow-up, the upselling procedures. All these things needs adjustment, human behavior in order to understand the human needs and offer what is necessary to the client and retain them.
Absolutely.
I think this is the difference between a simple spa goer and a core spa goer, because the core spa goer mostly goes there for the people and not for the technology.
Thank you, thank you. George, 20 seconds. What would be the one thing you're going to do about digitalization? I know usually you don't play to play, you play to win. What are you pushing your team to digitalize first that hasn't been said by Stavros or Spiros? How does Cyprus top Greece on this?
Well, I agree with both that we need to digitalize everything, but the communication for me is very important. Communication with your clients, and during this very difficult period that we are closed for 2 months, our application, the mobile application that we have created, helped us a lot to communicate with our clients. And it was via the app, our clients can directly contact their spa therapists, their fitness instructor, personal trainers, to ask questions, get advices, to discuss about the exercise program. And they also had a different exercise programs with their personal trainers. And there were spa clients that they were also buying products that they were missing for a long time when we close, and we can do this through this application and order them and deliver them to their home. So it helped us a lot communicating, and through an application for me it's very important, and we will all need this.
Thank you. Nigel, your take on this? What do you recommend to your clients?
I agree with everybody, actually. In essence, also using app services for communication, that kind of thing. And but I do agree that with wellness, there is also a need for human touch. I remember, 12 months ago, we were having discussions on deskless front desk receptions, and how we take away the barriers, and now we're having a discussion on how we put them back up again, plus. But the communication using app services, agree with George with talking to fitness experts, your therapists. I just, we just have to be mindful, obviously for the guests, but there is a thing that drives therapists to therapy, and if we digitalize that, then we turn their very beautiful drive into kind of a robotic existence. We have to first protect not only the therapists, but also their passion for therapy. And how do we digitalize that? And I don't think we can digitalize that, but we just have to buffer everything else around it.
Thank you. Matteo, lots of questions coming up about wellness. What is the place for wellness in this post-COVID situation, and not just for beautiful resorts, beautiful hotels far away, for any salon or any spa with just a few treatment rooms? How can wellness play a bigger role?
Well, I'm sure that after all the situation, when the pandemic will be, let's say, over or minimized, lots of people is coming out with lots of stress and needs to recover, it would be in need of wellness. So I'm pretty sure that the demand for wellness, for spas and for gym after all the situation will be very, very high. So I'm sure that we'll come out stronger from all this situation. I want to thank as well the Professional Beauty Group for all these amazing webinars they're putting together, and I want to underline that it is important for all of us to take care of the people who's working with us, or our employees and so on, not only from a prevention point of view, but from a wellness point of view. So we suggested with your help, Jean-Guy, we created a video explaining how therapists can do some stretching before and after the treatment. In our company, we are promoting wellness in different levels with internal gym, with classes. So we are working more and more to bring wellness to all our employees, and I think is a good way to help them to go out after this difficult situation.
Thank you. Stavros, you wanted to mention something also about September.
Yes, as proud ambassador of World Wellness Weekend, and thank you, Zagi, for that, the last 2 years. I think that the result of all this situation is that we have to make wellness for all, and we have to make it more inclusive. And there are a lot of panels said about creativity, and I think that we need to bring it forward. And I think that we have 3 months ahead for all of us to prepare some activities that will bring this wellness for all up front. And the World Wellness Weekend all around the world will have the opportunity on 19th and 20th of September to provide all these activities to all people around the world to make some good wellness activities safely. And we try to bring as many as possible to this new world. And thank you for this opportunity to experience all these projects.
Thank you so very much, Stavros.
It will be a nice marketing tool to promote and attract guests to do more wellness into their lives.
Thank you very much. Just before we conclude, and our panelists have just one word to share about how do they keep hope in this situation? What does make their heart sing? Just one word, all of them, as our panelists think about that, and this will be our concluding thoughts. Please make sure, all of you attending on the Zoom room, that you can, at the bottom right corner of the chat box, there is a small square with 3 dots in it. And if you click on it, it says, record the conversation. It will not be the conversation we had, audio or video. It will be the conversation in the chat box. And if you click on it, then it will save every link that has been shared so far, information. So Nigel, you'll be the first one to say one word about what makes your heart sing and what keeps you hope. Then Julien and George.
Opportunity.
Opportunity. Yes, because you did mention that the Chinese symbol for crisis is?
It's 2 characters in the Chinese word for crisis is 2 characters. One character means threat. The other character means opportunity. That's the word for crisis.
Together, once again, yin yang, not yin and yang, yin yang.
Yes.
It's a symbol of Tao, night and day. Absolutely. Julien, one word?
One word.
Or 2 if you want. I mean, French people, they cannot have one word. You must have 2, Julien.
No, I'm optimistic for the future. Of course, 2020 will be difficult, but I think we are in the real trend of disconnecting people, digital detox, and giving space to people, reeling them to nature. And I think wellness is the right trend.
Thank you. George, my friend, one word or 2 from Cyprus, sunny Cyprus. If you can unmute. And then Spiro, Stavros, and Matteo will have the final word. George, you're on.
For me, it's very important of listening. Listening for me is it's everything about wellness. If you are not able to listen to the people that they're coming back to us with changing their lifestyle, especially at this moment that they are being locked in their homes and they have so many concerns. We need to empathize. We need to listen to people in order to give them what they need, to give them something to take back home with them.
Absolutely. It says in a very old book, a very wise book, it's more important to understand before we're understood. So listening is absolutely first. And the first thing that therapists do whenever they place their hands over a body, they don't do things. First, they listen, and then they act upon it. Thank you. Spiros, Stavros, Matteo, final words.
Well, if I must choose one word, which is very difficult, this would be solidarity. And this is because what I've seen during these 2 months is that people have not been so close to each other without being physically close to each other. And they kept sharing information, ideas, optimistic views. And this is something that really blew me out, because this is the hope of humanity, just being there for each other.
Thank you, Spiros. Stavros, my friend.
Yes, I think one word is, for me, is adapt. And as one of very famous people, Stephen Hawking, said once, is intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. So I think that humanity, all these thousands of years, adapted, and at the end, we prevail and go forward. So many things to come. So stay creative, stay healthy. And I think that through adaptation, we'll go to the next chapter.
Thank you. Matteo, last words.
So I would say together. I think together, as everybody is saying now, together we are stronger, but also together as a team, nobody can beat us. I think nothing can beat us. So I think if we all play together and if we all stay together, of course, we're keeping the distance now because we have to, we'll come out stronger from all this situation and have a better future for all of us, for wellness and so on.
Thank you. Heartfelt gratitude to all of you, Matteo, Nigel, Julien, George, Stavros, Spiros, and all of you who have chosen to spend the last 80 minutes of your life with us, listening to insights, best practices. Especially thank you, Emma, in the background, Managing Director of Professional Beauty GCC, Andy, Chloe, all of you, because Matteo said together we are stronger, and this is definitely a motto of Professional Beauty. So thank you, Professional Beauty, for combining the efforts of 4 teams in UK, GCC, South Africa, India. Thank you, Lemmy, for being the platinum sponsor and making this all these sessions accessible for free to everyone, and Biologique Recherche, also our second platinum sponsor. We are exactly on time. It's been 78 minutes. We had 80 minutes. Thank you so much. There's one more session starting in about 40 minutes with the United Nations Global Sustainability Index Institute, a fabulous doctor from Australia, Manuela Boyle, also Gareth Fresh from the World Health Innovation Summit. Don't miss that if you want to understand how our industry can be relevant after COVID-19 and how we can be the second wave of responders, owing so much to the healthcare practitioners, doctors, and nurses. We can be also the standing ovation that we have been waiting for to boost immune systems and to make this world well again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jean-Guy.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you all.
guys. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ.